Hello, this is Spartan Commmander, and this is the 1002nd Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. And what a battle I've got for you today. Potentially, it could be one of the shortest battles that I've put on, but as I say, potentially. And as I say, it does turn out to be an absolute cracking battle, this one, which I hope you'll find quite exciting. Okay, this is fought on one of our custom maps, as you can see. Here there's a little bit of undulating ground on this map, but it's not like a map full of undulating ground. As I say, just a little bit here and there. Here you can see a bit of higher ground left between the teams. I'm guessing that both teams will probably try and grab that higher ground if they can. Remember, ground advantage is very important in battle. Okay, so our first teammate is someone who's called himself Dauntless, but is in fact Brotherhood member Earth. Nice to see Earth back on Rome Total War after a little break. Now he's got 6 Axemen, 10 Maidens and 4 War Dog units in his Scythian army. If you notice here, these are the Scythian Axemen. Sadly, no matter what upgrades you put on them, they never perform very well on the 31k battlefield, and you'll see Earth has fully upgraded the Axemen. 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. But as I say, that is why we give Scythia a 10 cavalry max additional rule, if you like, in our 31k battles, because their infantry are so poor. And as I say, these Axemen are fully upgraded by Earth, but you'll find they don't do that well anyway. And then we've got an unusual unit to see on a 31k battlefield, War Dogs. How often do you see Warhounds on the 31k battlefield there? So it'll be interesting to see how he uses those during the course of the battle. And then we have the Headhunting Maidens. Now when you hear the name Maiden, you might think innocent, quiet, reserved, you know, like a bit of a wallflower. Well, all that description is nothing like these, what these girls are. These are the deadly girls of Rome Total War. Okay, they really are, with their effective against armor axes there. Okay, and cavalry versus cavalry, probably the best cavalry in the game. Okay, they are only light cavalry, but those effective against armor axes really do make the difference. And as I say, don't be fooled by their names. They certainly aren't maidens in the meaning that you might be thinking. Okay, so our next teammate is someone who's called himself Chinny Poo, but is in fact Scorpion King SR. Now get ready for this. He's got 19 infantry, I'll say that again, 19 infantry and 1 old school cavalry armored general. Okay, also what I'd like to show you in his army here, you'll see that he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 morale boosting eagle units. Okay, so he's got 4 morale boosting eagle units within his 19 infantry. So that is a heck of a lot of morale he's got. And here I'd just like to show you the old school, old fashioned armoured cavalry general. Now up to about maybe 16, 17 years ago, we all used to bring this as our Roman general, until most of us changed to an infantry general. So this genuinely is old school, old fashioned here, and it's nice to see Scorpion King bring a bit of old school onto the modern day battlefield. So there you are, 19 infantry, 1 armoured cavalry general. Apart from that, no other cavalry. Okay, so he's gone very, very infantry based here. And don't forget those 4 morale boosting eagle units. Our next teammate is Iberus Touro. A lot of you will know him. Now he's got 8 silver shield pikes, 3 silver shield legionnaires, 6 cavalry and 1 chariot unit. Okay, if you have a look at the upgrades on his silver shield pikeman there, you'll see he's got 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on his pikeman there. And just have a look at his silver shield legionnaires, and he's just got gold shield, gold attack on his silver shield legionnaires. Remember, those silver shield legionnaires are pretty tough in their own right. Quick look at the upgrades on his cataphracts, and he's got 7 upgrades on his cataphracts, an experience strike, gold shield, gold attack. As we talked about before, remember we call these guys the tanks of the ancient world because they're armored from head to toe. And I believe, I remember, he's got 1 chariot unit there. He's got 1 chariot unit there. And as we've talked about this over and over again, remember that I always say to people, if you're not confident or competent with chariots, you really need to think if you're going to bring them or not. Because as I say, if they run amok and they start killing your friends' troops, you will become unpopular very, very quickly. So as I say, chariots are a very, very double-edged sword, and I always urge people to really think about it before they bring them there. Okay, so that's Iberus Touro's Seleucid army, and our last teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who has just got 16 Sacred Band Spearmen. Okay, that's the entirety of my army, 16 Sacred Band Spearmen, that's it. So there's our team. As I say, got the potential to be a cracking battle. And here is the other team. We have brother member JGP, who's bought the Germania faction. Now he's got 3 Berserkers, 3 Knight Raiders, 8 Axemen, and 6 Cavalry. And this is, I would say, his second faction of choice. He likes to bring Germania. Can you see how he could split his army into 3 mini armies there, which is often what he does. Splits his Germania army into 3 separate armies there. Quick look at his army here. You'll see he's got his effective against armor Axemen there. Okay, the chosen Axemen, and used properly they can cut wide swathes through heavily armored troops like Roman infantry, and are incredibly effective there. And then you've got the Knight Raiders. Now the Knight Raiders infantry is okay. I would say they're pretty good, but the reason that you bring them in a Germania army is because of the fear factor that they bring, taking morale away from enemy troops, destabilizing them and making them easier to rout. Okay, then we're going to move on to the infamous Berserkers. Now remember, the Berserkers have got 2 hit points, excellent attacking specifications, and they also have got a massive fear factor as well. Remember, the fear factor troops take the morale away from enemy troops, and as we said, makes them more susceptible to routing. Plus these guys carry effective against armor maces as well, and arguably are the most powerful units in the game. That's why we only allow 3. And then we've got the Gothic Cavalry here, and he's got 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. There's a bit more of a close-up of them if you haven't seen them before. So make no mistake, that will be a tried and tested Germanic army of JGPs, and it'll be interesting to see how well he does with them during the course of the battle. Okay, their next teammate is someone who calls himself Ramses, but it is in fact Brotherhood member Royer. Now he's, get ready for this, 19 chosen swordsmen and 1 druid unit. Yes, 19 chosen swordsmen. If you look at the upgrades, I think he's got mixed upgrades, if I remember correctly. He's got 7 upgrades on some of his chosen swordsmen, and I think he might have 8 upgrades on others. It's kind of mixed, but of course he's done a good thing in it here by bringing a morale boosting druid unit. Remember that a lot of barbarian troops morale is not very good, so to bring a morale boosting unit is a good tactical move there. And as I say, Royer uses Gaul from time to time, and he's got very, very good with them, and sometimes gets some really good kills as well. Okay, so their next teammate is the Prince of Ionia. Now, he is a newer player to Rome Total War, okay, but he's getting better and better. Now, this Macedonian army he's bought, get ready for this, 20 pike units. Okay, so he's got 20 pike units here, no cavalry, 20 pike. As I say, he's a newer player to Rome Total War, so he's just getting, you know, he's getting better every time he plays. But if you notice, his pikes have just got gold shield, gold attack on. Okay, as we've talked about in a lot of other battle videos, the optimum upgrades for Macedonian Royal Pikemen are 8 upgrades, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So to only have gold shield, gold attack on his pikemen there, he's gone for quantity over quality. Okay, as I say, no cavalry, but so with 20 pike units there with small upgrades, he's gone for quantity over quality. Be interesting to see how that works out. And their other teammate here is someone who's calls himself Noobs Gladdemmy, but he's another new RTW player, but he's getting better and better as he plays. Now he's got 14 pikes and 5 cavalry. Okay, so Gladdemmy's 14 pikes and 5 cavalry there. So it'll be interesting to see how well he does. Quick look at the upgrades. Can you see he's got 7 upgrades on his pikes, an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on his pikemen. Cavalry, I'm thinking probably just gold, yeah, just gold shield, gold attack on his companion cavalry with their 9 charge bonus. So there you go, and he's got a fast-moving unit up there, a light lancer, fast-moving unit there, which he'll move around the battlefield quite quickly. So there's the enemy team. As I say, this has got the potential to be an absolutely cracking battle, and I hope you enjoy it. Now, I know a lot of you like statistics, so I think you might find this interesting. The Prince of Ionia, with his 20 pike units, that gives him, get ready for this, 2,420 men. Yes, 2,420 men in the Prince of Ionia's army. Okay? And then Gladdemmy's 1,421 man units, that gives him 1,694. Okay, so he's got 1,694. Now, if you combined the two Macedonian pike armies there, that comes to, get ready for this, 4,114. So between them they've got 4,114 pikemen. Oh my gosh, quantity there, and that excludes their allies' troops there at all. It's just the pike numbers that Gladdemmy and the Prince of Ionia have got between them. 4,114 pike units there. So as I say, that is a heck of a lot of pikes there, and a lot of pushing power, if you like, with the long pikes of those Macedonians there. And over here, I just want to show you something there. Can you have a look at the Seleucid battle formations there? And you saw the other two there. And here's an old school, old-fashioned block formation here from maybe 2006, 2007. Can an old school, old-fashioned block formation still do any good on the modern 2025 battlefield? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. As you can see, there's nothing sophisticated about that battle formation. Okay, at this very, very early stage of the battle here, you'll see Scorpion King moving his SPQR army over to the slightly higher ground. Can you see that? That little bit of higher ground in front of our Seleucid ally. It wouldn't surprise me if our Seleucid ally moved forward a little bit there to try and grab that slightly higher ground. Remember, taking ground advantage is very important in battle. Right, let's just pause the game for a second here. So you'll see our ally Earth with his Scythian army racing over to come and join us there. And you'll see that also JGP with his Germania army will be moving over towards his allies as well. This centre point of the battlefield, if you like, is the slightly higher ground in between the two armies. And as you can see, I'm moving my Carthage army over towards my allies as well. And you'll see the Macedonian troops moving over towards this part of the battlefield as well. As I say, watch our Seleucid ally. He'll probably move forward. There you are. He's just moving forward a little bit, look, to take full advantage of that slightly higher ground there that Scorpion King has just reached. You'll notice that Scorpion King is harassing and haranguing with his fast-moving armoured cavalry general there. He's already smashed into the front of Gaul as they were moving there, just trying to harass and harangue and annoy the enemy troops. Might make them, do something that they wouldn't normally do because they're a bit fed up with him harassing and haranguing with that fast-moving armoured cavalry general. And just to say, that is old school, as we talked about that armoured cavalry general, but harassing and haranguing with it was a common thing that used to happen with it as well, trying to annoy the enemy team, which is what he's trying to do there. Okay, so you can see there that Scorpion King is moving his SPQR army forward towards the Macedonians. Now, can you think why he wants to do that? Okay, so newer players to Rome Total War, the reason he wants to do that is to throw as many pilers as he can into that Macedonian army to weaken them before we even get into hand-to-hand fighting. Remember, those effective against armor pilers would do a lot of damage to the big 121-man units, but he needs to be careful of his flank here because both Gaul and Germania could possibly come round his flank here. And I remember saying that to him when he was approaching the Macedonians there, and watch your flank. You can see here that Earth has arrived, but Earth has only got, of course, those axemen and his warhounds there to try and support Scorpion King against Gaul and Germania. So we need to watch that flank quite carefully, I would suggest. Over here you'll see that I've got my Carthaginians moved up there, and I've kind of integrated my Carthaginians there with the Seleucid troops there. Okay, But I would possibly suggest that the Seleucids could move to the right of Scorpion King to face the Gaul army. I don't know what you're thinking. Can you see that Prince of Ionia is moving his Macedonians back, which is a good tactical move there, so they don't get decimated by all the pilers that Scorpion's 19 infantry could throw into them. Okay, so that was a nice move there by Prince. Right, pause the game for a second here, just to give you a heads up on this. What I'm thinking about doing with my old school army is attacking Gladdemmy's and Macedonians there if I get a chance. And I would suggest, as I say, that Iberus Touro takes his Seleucids over, maybe to face Gaul there, and Scorpion King to face Macedon. Just a thought there. And then you've got the cavalry of Scythia and those Seleucid cataphracts in behind to help out where needed. Okay, but you can see there that the Gaul general there is moving his army back. Once again, he doesn't want to get loads of pilers thrown into him, so he's moved his army back a little bit there. And as I say, you can see Iberus Touro moving his Seleucids over towards the right flank. Okay, so just to give you a heads up on this, as I say, I'm watching Gladdemmy's and Macedonians very closely on our left flank. Okay, just to give you a heads up on that. And I'll show you why in just a minute here. If you notice here, can you see that I'm on the slightly higher ground with a slope or incline down into those Macedonians? And if Gladdemmy moves closer to me there, I'm going to try a lightning strike of running down with my spears up, hitting the Macedonians, and when I make contact, then putting my spears down. Okay, so that's a tactic that I'm looking to do on Gladdemmy there. And over here you'll see that JGP, I think, is looking to split his army up into those 3 mini armies we talked about earlier, and he's very, very effective with the 3 mini armies. As I say, Germania is JGP's second faction of choice, and he's got very good with them, and splitting his armies up can be very, very effective on the battlefield. As I say, it's got the potential to be a great battle. Okay, at this stage of the battle, as I said, you can see Gladdemmy here moving his Macedonians closer to me. So what I'm going to do here is I'm looking to do a lightning strike down this incline, down this slope into the Macedonians. If you notice, I've got my spears up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to crash into those Macedonians with my spears up. Okay, and then actually when I make contact with them, I'll put my spears down. Right, see, I've halted there. Okay, and now I'm going to charge on into them there. And as I charge into them, I will put my spears down there. Now, because there's so many 121 man units in this battle, it does cause a little bit of lag. Some people's computers find it difficult to run with so many numbers on the battlefield here, but I hope that doesn't spoil it too much for you. Okay, so as I say, you can see my Carthaginians now have got their spears down and will start to attack those Macedonians. Okay, just like to show you a nice tactical move here by Earth. He's got, I think it's 5 of his headhunting maidens above the rear of the Macedonians there, so that he could charge down the slope into them when he's ready to do that. Okay, now meanwhile over here you will see that Prince of Ionia is using his numbers there against the Seleucids, looking like he's going to get round the flank of Touro's infantry there. And as I say, here you can see Scorpion King's infantry getting hit by Germania and Macedonian pikes coming in on his flank. And of course he's got that massive Gaul army backed up by a mini Germania army in front of him as well. Okay, now do you remember at the beginning of this battle I said potentially this could be one of the shortest battles I've put on? Well, you'll see what I mean in just a minute, okay? But here you can see, as I say, my Carthaginians there attacking the Macedonians of Gladdemmy. Okay, I made the most of that down slope or down incline advantage I had in charging into the Macedonians. You'll see that Gladdemmy is bringing over his units to engage my Carthaginians there. Okay, now as I say, here Scorpion King now saw the danger on his flank coming in, that Germania army and those Macedonians, and he moved his units away. Right, now can you see here how his units have moved into kind of like I I don't know, elongated way, and what that means is that he's lost his battle formation. Now sometimes when you lose a unit, can you see he's lost a unit there? It's routing. Okay, when you try and move your battle formation, you'll find that your battle formation has been lost, and then RTW puts your infantry into these long lines, as you can see, and they are very, very ineffective and weak. Just look, remember the flank is the most one of the most weakest part of a unit, and look at the width of that flank there to be hit by enemy troops. So as I say, unfortunately Scorpion King's lost his battle formation there, and he's going to have to rearrange that quite quick, and especially as he's under pressure there with a berserker unit attacking him and all those enemy troops potentially ready to hit into him there, so he's going to need to move quite quickly. You've got Seleucid here and some Scythian troops there ready to back him up if they can. And as I say, over here you'll see that Touro there has put his legionnaires there into Testudo. But over here, as I say, my Carthaginians are engaging Gladdemmy's and pike units there. As I say, that old school, old battle formation that I've using from 2006, 2007. Just be interesting to see how well it does on the modern day 2025 battlefield there. As I say, I had the down incline advantage there. But as I say to you, here you can see the enemy really pushing in on our allies there. And as you can see, Scorpion King here trying to sort his battle formation out as quickly as he can. They're under a lot of pressure from enemy troops. You've got the Germanic cavalry, you've got those mini Germanic armies that JGP has split his main army into there. And you can see that Touro charging up the slope here. Looks like he's going to charge into those Germanic cavalry there. If they charge into him, they will have the downslope advantage. Right. Okay, can you see all this Gaul army of Royer here charging in to Scorpion King's SBQ infantry? Also, if you look closely, you'll see there are Germanic troops there as well. Okay, so there you can see Scorpion King's purple SBQ army being attacked by Gaul and Germania. They say if you look closely there, you will see Germania effective against armor axemen there, and you've got Night Raiders in there as well, taking the morale away from Scorpion King's troops. Okay, so you can see that, and there's a berserker activated as well. You'll see Earth is throwing in his Scythian axemen there to try and brace the line of Scorpion King there. See them charging in there, trying to brace the line there. But you remember I said that this could be potentially a short battle for you to watch. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Here you can see that Touro has now kind of put a bit of a defensive formation up there against the attacking troops that are coming in against him. Okay, but this particular part of the battle could be the make or break of the battle here. Here you'll see the Seleucid cataphracts and the headhunting maidens. Some of the headhunting maidens attacking the Germanic cavalry, maybe looking to get in behind the enemy troops. Okay, so here you'll see that Gladdemmy has got his cavalry in behind my engaged Carthaginians. Now, is he thinking of smashing into the back of my Carthaginians there? I wonder if that's what's going through his mind. He's got the downslope advantage if that's what he wants to do. But I am aware of those cavalry in behind me. Okay, but to just watch and see what happens here. As I say, do you remember I said this could be potentially one of the shortest battles I've ever put on? Okay, so as I say, here you can see the Scythian infantry and all of Scorpion King's infantry are engaged with the Gauls and the Germanic infantry as well. Okay, right, just pause the game for a second here. So that's what's happening there. Germania and Gaul attacking the front, and the SBQR and Scythia bracing the line there. But here, you'll see that Gladdemmy, using good battlefield awareness, has decided he's not going to attack my Carthaginians. He's looking at the bigger picture. Okay, so as I say, most of his Macedonian pikes have been taken out by my Carthaginians, and he may well be thinking, right, okay, it's not worth trying to rescue what I've got left of my pikes there. I'm going to try and look at the bigger picture here. And what he's looking at here could be battle defining and battle ending. Okay, so here we've got Scorpion King and Earth's infantry there, okay, fighting the Gaul and Germanic army. Now, if those Macedonian cavalry of Gladdemmy smashes into the back, you're going to have a classic hammer and anvil attack here. Okay, of course, the Gaul and Germania infantry being the anvil and the Macedonian cavalry being the hammer. Now, whether those two Scythian cavalry units there of earths are going to engage those Macedonian cavalry, we just have to wait and see. But watch out here. As I say, this could be a battle-winning hit here. And then, as I say, it could be a really short battle. Right, watch the Macedonian cavalry going in. Hammer and anvil attack. Classic hammer and anvil attack. Watch that Macedonian cavalry and bang! As they smash into the back of Earth's and Scorpion King's engaged infantry there. Oh my gosh, just look at that. Oh my gosh. So there you are, a classic hammer and anvil attack, and well done to the enemy team there. You can see there that basically all of Scorpion King's infantry and all of the Macedon axemen there have been routed in this classic hammer and anvil attack. And that was a battle-winning charge there by the Macedonian cavalry. Well done to them. Here you can see our Seleucid ally there was trying to smash into the rear of the enemy troops himself, but the enemy spotted that and they turned some effective against armour, axemen, knight raiders, and some Gaul chosen swordsmen there to actually neutralise that Seleucid cavalry attack that Touro was trying to do. But as I say, that Macedonian cavalry by Gladdemmy's charge there has kind of won the battle for them there. The enemy troops now will be looking to go into the back of our Seleucid ally just to finish them off. I think that's probably what they'll look to do there. So as I say, this could be potentially one of the shortest battles that I've put on there because of that massive cavalry charge there by Gladdemmy. Over here I'm finishing off Gladdemmy's pike units there with my Carthaginians. You got Earth's cavalry up there as well, ready to charge into the rear of what's left of the Macedonians. He was just waiting his time there, just biding his time, waiting for the Macedonians to be weakened by my Carthaginians before he charges into them there. So there you are. That's great support there by Earth's headhunting maidens. So we've managed to take out Gladdemmy's pikes on this flank, on the left flank there, between Earth and myself. So that's good for us, isn't it? But the main battle's been lost there. I think I'm going to move my spearmen over to try and just get up onto a bit of higher ground before I'm taken out. But look at this, look, all of Scorpion King's SBQR infantry and all of the Scythian infantry there has been mass routed by that massive cavalry charge. And as I say, all these enemy troops now are available to smash into the back of the Seleucid, our Seleucid ally there, to take him out, and then they can then concentrate all their troops onto my tired and battle damaged Carthaginians there. So just to say, really well done to the enemy team there. You know, a well-deserved win for them, I think. Oh my gosh, look at our Seleucid ally being smashed into the rear by enemy troops. We know Seleucid morale is not very good, so there you are. So that's all the Seleucid. That's all the Seleucid infantry of our ally has now been routed as well. Okay, so as I say, well done to the enemy troops. They played really well. As I say, that Macedonian cavalry charge by Gladdemmy was battle winning there. And there you can see all of Touro's infantry has now been routed, including his general. But one thing I'd like to show you here, as I say, you can see all our troops routing here. But one thing I'd like to show you here, can you see a rallying point here? Okay, can you see this rallying point here of Scorpion King's SBQR infantry and the Scythian infantry of Earths as well? They're kind of rallying, aren't they? Now, how many battles have I talked about in the past where you should chase routers off the battlefield? If you don't chase routers off the battlefield and they rally, they can come back to bite you in the butt. Now, the enemy have got enough cavalry here, both Germania cavalry and Macedonian cavalry, to be chasing Scorpion King and Earth's infantry off the battlefield here. Okay, because if they let them rally, as I say, that could be a big tactical mistake by the enemy team. Okay, they got all these troops here, look. They've won the battle, in effect. They've actually won the battle. My tired and battle-damaged Carthaginians aren't going to be much of a match for the numbers that are there. Okay, so as I say, they just need to chase off the routers now of my allies there, and then concentrate their troops on my troops, and the battle's won. Okay, I mean, the battle's won already, surely, isn't it? But you can see here that, as I say, Scorpion King's SPQR troops and the Scythian troops here are rallying a little bit, aren't they? As I say, you know, maybe they should have been chased off the battlefield by the enemy troops. Don't know what you're thinking there. But here they can see they're rallying now. Could this be a glimmer of hope for us? Well, we just have to, because I mean, let's be honest, the battle's lost, isn't it? The battle is really lost. But could this, as I say, be a glimmer of hope that some of our troops are rallying? Or is it just, you know, just going to be like a candle in the wind? As soon as the enemy hits us, that candle's going to go out. But there's my tired and battle-damaged Carthaginians. I'm trying to get up onto a bit of higher ground just to make a last stand there. But as I say, you can see the enemy troops there massed there, just waiting to attack my Carthaginians. But well done to Scorpion King and Earth here, rallying their troops. Now you can see that JGP is trying to chase them away with his Germanic infantry there. But we've got enough rallied troops now maybe to turn those rallied troops onto those Germania troops and beat them. Right, as I say, I've got my Carthaginians up here. I'm being attacked by a berserker unit. See that berserker unit smashing into my tired and battle-damaged infantry there. You can see them really smashing my Carthaginians about there. And I'm just waiting for the final, you know, axe blow, if you like, from the enemy troops as they come in on my troops. But here you can see that Royer as Gaul's infantry and that Germania cavalry looks like they're going to charge down the slope, down the incline, into my allies' rallied troops. Okay, but here you can see, whoa, I can't believe it. The enemy troops are hitting us, but it looks like my allies' rallied troops are doing really well. There's a berserker unit there. They've whipped that down to one berserker there. So my allies have done really well in rallying their routed troops there. Oh my gosh, and look, they're turning on the enemy and routing a lot of the enemy troops. Uh-oh, here comes a Germanic cavalry charging down the incline here into our troops. Get ready for this, and bang! And it smashes it. Oh my gosh, look at the whole Gaul army. Right, here comes Earth with his headhunting maidens to charge in on the flank of those enemies. Oh, he just killed the Macedonian general. Bang! As the headhunting maidens go in. Oh my gosh. Is there a chance for us now or not? Oh my gosh, that was a great hit there by Earth with the headhunting maidens. And you can see that the SPQR infantry and some of those Scythian axemen are holding. But look at all those Gaul troops and Germania troops coming down the incline into them here. Okay, you can see that. So our troops are still outnumbered, and the enemy troops have got the down incline advantage as well here. Oh my gosh. Well, my Carthaginians at the top of the slope here. Now, what am I going to do? Am I going to attack those Macedonian pikes up there? Is that something that you would do? Or am I going to keep my spears up and charge my troops into the rear of those engaged enemy troops? What do you think you would do here? Okay, so you can see I've decided to keep my spears up, and I'm going to charge into the rear of those engaged enemy troops, and I'm going to have the down incline advantage. Now, can you see I'm above the enemy troops, and I've got the down incline advantage, and I'm going to charge into the back of those enemy troops. Now, this could be a hammer and anvil attack. My allies' infantry, their rallied infantry, being the anvil, and my Carthaginians being the hammer there as they charge in. I can see the Gaul general. I'm going to go for the Gaul general, take the general morale bonus away by routing that Gaul general. There you are. Can you see as my Carthaginians hit, I'm routing a lot of enemy troops there. Oh my gosh, is there hope for us? I mean, basically, let's be honest, we'd lost the battle. We'd actually lost, hadn't we? But look now, is there hope for us? Can we turn things around here? Well, the Gaul general's been routed. I can see the Macedonians looking to come in behind us possibly. But it'll be interesting to see what the Macedonian general's going to do here. Right, let's just pause the game for a second here. So the headhunting maidens here have done really well at helping to rout the attacking enemy troops that are coming down onto our rallied troops. You can see my Carthaginians, I'm chasing after those remainders of the Gaul army there. Scorpion King has put his SBQR infantry on the flank of the Macedonians there. He needs to watch out for those Macedonians, though they may well try to attack his troops. So he needs to be very, very aware of that. But here you can see, as I say, I'm chasing down, if you like, the towards those remainder of the Gaul infantry there as I'm going down the hill. Just a few Gaul units left. Actually, my allies might be able to finish them off themselves there as we come down the hill. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It looks like we've routed most of the Germanic army, and it looks like we've routed the Gaul army as well. And of course, Gladdemmy's Macedonian pikes I'd taken out earlier on the left flank. There you are. Can you see the Macedonian pikes going for Scorpion King's SBQR infantry? And the Scorpion King is doing exactly the right thing, backing his infantry away from those fresh Macedonian pike units there. You can see that Scorpion King's infantry is very battle depleted, and their morale will be low, and they're probably tired as well. But here you can see, I think we've just taken out the last of the Gaul troops there. There you go. I think that's what we've just done there. So that's good news for, I mean, as I say, I think we've taken out JGP's Germania troops, and we've taken out the Gaulish troops, and we know that we've taken out Gladdemmy's pike units there. So, oh my gosh, we've kind of turned things around here. I can't believe it. As I said earlier, you could see, couldn't you, what I was talking about it could be a really short battle. We'd actually kind of lost the battle, hadn't we, really, I think. But now you've got all these pike units here of the Prince of Ionia. Remember, he's got 20 pike units there. They might have been, some of them might have been slightly battle damaged during the course of the battle, but he's still got, I think, 20 pike units there. And all our troops are tired and battle depleted. Okay, you can see tired. I think a lot of my units are actually very tired, if I remember correctly. There you are, very tired. Can you see? My troops are very tired. And as I say, this is a good move for Scorpion King. Just move his infantry away from those Macedonians there. And his general, he's still alive. Kept his general alive. So he's got the general morale bonus there as well. So that's really good. And of course, he's got a couple of Eagle units left as well. I think he's got a couple of rallied Eagle units. There you are. There's one there, and I think there's another one. There you are. So he's got 2 Eagle units plus his general left as well. So there's a lot of morale there as well. So that's good news for us. And it'll be interesting to see what the Prince of Ionia is going to do with his massive pike army there. Okay, he's up on the higher ground now. So that's a massive advantage for him there. And as I say, if you look at my infantry there, I think they're either tired or very tired. Very tired there, look, can you see? Very tired there, which means that my battle proficiency, the way that my troops fight the battle, will be greatly diminished. You can see there's a Scythian axemen unit, they're very tired as well. So as I say, our morale will be low, and our battle proficiency will be extremely low as well. And you can see the Seleucid cavalry are tired or very tired as well. I'm guessing the maidens are going to be very tired as well. They're tired. So as I say, we've got to, whatever happens now, before we move on to the next stage of the battle, we've got to try and rest our troops, get us back to optimum fighting condition, which is fresh. And here is a unit of Gladdemmy's pikemen there that obviously I must have missed earlier over on the left flank there. And now his best tactic would be to run up that unit and join his ally on top of the slope. I don't know what you're thinking there. I would suggest that would be the best thing for him to do, is move that unit up and join up with his allies up on top of the hill. But here he looks like he's going to attack our troops there. He's attacking that peasant unit. I remember saying to my allies there, well, I'm going to send some units over to, it wouldn't surprise me once he sees his Carthage units moving towards him, he'll put his pikes up and run away. They were, let's say, he's moving away, which is a good tactical move for him. But what would be an even better tactical move, as I say, is move up on the hill and join up with his allies. But here you can see he's just, I think he's just trying to be a bit of a nuisance with that unit there. And you'll see that what I'm going to do with those units that I've moved towards that Macedonian unit, I'm just going to turn them around and join my main army in a minute, because wasting energy and troops on that one unit when he's moving away from the battlefield, to me is kind of, I don't know what you guys are thinking, just not worth it really. He's moving away from the main battle there. But anyway, up on top of the hill here, you'll see that the Prince of Ionia, to me, looks like he's going to form a defensive box. Okay, there you are. He's going to form a defensive box with his 20 pike units. He's got what's left of his allies' units in the middle of that defensive box, as you can see. And oh my gosh, this could be an almost impregnable defensive box with 20 pike units all fresh. Oh my gosh. But over here, this unit of Gladdemmy, look, can you see my allies there look like they're really intent on trying to take that pike unit out? Where, you know, to me, I mean, you know, everybody's got different opinions, but to me, just leave him alone. He's a long way from the battlefield. If he gets anywhere near us, then we'll use our infantry to take him out. But he's a long way away. Why waste troops and energy on trying to take that one unit out? Just my thoughts on that. But here you can see the defensive box there. It's obviously not the finished box. He's just as a preliminary defensive box there, and he will be sorting that out a little bit better there. But you can see here now that Scorpion King's units were very tired, and they are now fresh. You can see my guys now are tired or winded because I'm walking them, I'm not running them. Okay, and what I wanted to show you here, you can see that pike defensive formation there, and if you look closely you'll see that just look at those pikes there. Imagine our troops trying to fight down those thick long pikes there to try and kill the man on the other end. That is going to be an extremely difficult thing to do. But talking about taking ground advantage here, can you see that there's a higher part of the hill there? Okay, now for me, that is where I would have formed up my defensive box. Not down there, up there on the higher point of the hill. Please, you know, put your thoughts in the comments. Is that what you would have done? Okay, is put your defensive formation up on top of the highest point there to make it more difficult for the enemy troops to attack. Because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my Carthaginians slowly and steadily round to this higher part of the ground there, look, and now I've got a down incline or down slope advantage into those Macedonian pikes. Can you see? I've got so that's where I'm going to make no mistake, just to give you a heads up on that. I'm going to walk my troops so they're going to be fresh, hopefully, round the Macedonian box and set it up on that higher ground. Meanwhile, my allies here are really determined to try and take out this Macedonian unit here. Okay, as I say, he's a long way away from the battlefield. To me, I just wouldn't waste resources and potential troops on trying to take it out. If he does get closer to us, we'll just take him out with our infantry. But it seems to me my allies definitely want to take that unit out. So we just have to see what happens there. But as I say, that's quite a formidable defensive box. And if you notice there, can you see, I don't know whether you can see there, the Macedonian general is still alive. So they're getting the Macedonian general morale bonus in that box as well. And make no mistake, that is a formidable box. Those of you that fought on RTW in the past will know that a Macedonian box there, set up really tight there, can be a very difficult and formidable kind of thing to beat, if you see what I mean. But this Germania, you see JGP's brought his fast-moving cavalry general out there to go down and help maybe the Macedonian unit of Gladdemmy there. But as I say, I'm gradually walking my troops around. As I say, I'm not going to run my troops because, as I say, I don't want my troops to be tired. I want them to be fresh and ready for combat when I get round to the other side of the defensive box there on that slightly higher ground, as I say there. So that's what I'm looking to do. As I say, there, that down slope advantage or down incline advantage is what I'm looking to get with my Carthaginians. And as I say, the Macedonian general there, looking at the ground, maybe should have formed up on the higher ground there. Please put your thoughts in the comments. But over here, as I say, my teammates are fascinated and infatuated, I think, by this one pike unit. And it wouldn't surprise me if they charge the peasants. There you are. They're going to charge the peasants in. There you are. Going to attack him with the peasants. It wouldn't surprise me if they charge cavalry in there. I mean, they could lose loads of units here just attacking this pike unit. This, you know. Oh, there's a cavalry going in as well. Look, bang! They're probably going to get routed. And here comes the Germanic cavalry there to help out the Macedonian ally. And bang! As he smashes in there. Look how many Scythian units have been routed there, just trying to take that Macedonian unit out. That cavalry unit went back up the slope. Look, bang! Charging again with the down slope advantage there. Took out another 2 Scythian units there. So as I say, look, you can see that just attacking that Macedonian unit, that's that. What's that? 5 Scythian units have been routed there. Just attacking that unit. As I say, it struck me that my allies were really infatuated with this pike unit. They're going to take it out whatever the cost. There's another Scythian cavalry unit coming in there. Look, headhunting maiden cavalry unit, and bang! As it smashes into that Macedonian unit. There's that Germanic cavalry coming around there. Look, and bang! As it smashes. Whoa! They've taken out that Macedonian unit. Thank goodness for that. For that. There you are. So as I say, they were really keen on taking out that Macedonian unit, and they finally did it, but maybe at a bit of cost there, but they have taken it out, so that's good. We can now concentrate maybe on the main part of the battle now, of getting our troops in position to try and assault this Macedonian defensive box there. I mean, some people call these boxes, in the old days, they used to call them noob boxes, right? But I don't call them noob boxes. They're defensive boxes that are set up. And, you know, sometimes in battle, you need to do that. You need to set up a defensive box, which is what he's decided to do. And as I say, this is a formidable box for us to try and break. And it should be interesting to see what happens. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I see Scorpion King just threw in a couple of infantry units to attack that that defensive box there. I don't know if he saw that maybe the pikes were up of a unit there, and he thought he'd just charge them in to try and attack them before they could get the pikes down, but he's just lost 2 of his units there in doing that attack. There you can see the dead SPQR infantry there. So the only reason I could see that he would do that is because he saw that maybe one unit had its pikes up or something like that, and he thought he'd just charge in there before they could get their pikes down. Okay, so what we need to do now is get our troops into position for the potential attack here. Now, as I say, that is a very solid defensive box there, and it'll be interesting to see how we're going to attack it. You got Scorpion King's got his infantry there, ready to attack from that side. There is, say, he got a slight, is that a slight down slope advantage maybe, but I don't think he'll want to put his troops into attacking there too much. You can see that Germanic general has taken that cavalry unit out of the battle formation there. And you can see our allies there got a couple of Seleucid pike units there. As you can see, a couple of Seleucid pike units, and you can see, as I say, we're just trying to get our troops into position at the moment. Okay, what I'm going to do is a little bit of micromanagement and reorganization of my battle formation here, because I've got some damaged units, especially on the flanks, that I'm going to move into the center with more with larger units there just to help out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about an analogy here. What I would like you to do is imagine that defensive box is a massive tree. Okay, I know that sounds funny, but imagine that defensive box is a massive tree. But a drill, okay, if you had a drill, you could easily drill into that tree, couldn't you, no matter how big that tree is. And the reason for that is because you put all your pressure and energy on that drill in a little area of the tree, and that's where it penetrates. Okay, so here you're going to see Scorpion King putting his unit into Testudo here. Those of you that might not have seen a unit in Testudo. There you are. You can see that unit going into Testudo there. This is a real formation used by the Romans back in the day, and he will look to penetrate those pikes there with that unit in Testudo. Okay, that's what you look to do. And you'll see I'm going to position my army, my Carthaginians there. Don't forget, I've moved over to this side deliberately, so I've got the down slope advantage, the down incline advantage there. Okay, now remember I was talking about that analogy about imagining that battle format, that defensive box as a tree. Now it doesn't matter how big the tree is. You can see him pressed in there. No matter how big the tree is, a drill point will still penetrate it, because all the power and energy is on that drill point, and so it's only pressing into a very small part of the tree, and that's why it penetrates so easy. Now the reason I'm using this analogy is there you can see that Testudo unit going in. The reason I'm using that analogy there is because I'm looking here to move. There you can see. Can you see that Germanic Knight Raider unit in there? Remember, that's a unit that saps morale from enemy troops, so as we're attacking we'll have our morale sapped by that unit. But as I say, what I'm looking to do here is to attack a very small part of that battle formation, okay, like the drill going into a big tree. That's what I'm trying to use that analogy there. Okay, so what I'm going to do here with my army, I'm going to try to look to just hit a very small part of that battle formation there. I'm going to concentrate my units into attacking a very small part, and I'm hoping, like a drill point, that putting all the pressure on a very small point will penetrate that box. And if I can penetrate that box, I will then attack the flanks of that penetration to widen the actual entry into that tree or into that box. You see what I mean while I'm using that analogy? So no matter how big the tree is, a drill point will penetrate it, because it's only going into a very small part of the tree with all its power. And that's what I'm looking to do here. I'm looking to attack, you'll see what I mean. I'm going to try and attack a very small part of that box with my infantry, okay? And what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to penetrate that box there through a very small point, and as it penetrates there, I will attack the flanks of the actual breakthrough, if you like, to widen the entry into the box. Okay, so there you are. Can you see I'm moving forward units of my Carthaginians into a very small part of that box? Okay, so imagine the drill point, the drill now drilling in to that massive tree. Okay, so that's why I was trying to use that analogy there. So you can see there, what I'm trying to do here is penetrate a very small part of that box, just trying to get through to the general if possible there, try and kill the general. Okay, but if I can penetrate, you'll notice that I then try and widen the actual penetration. Okay, so there you are. Can you see very, very small part of the box that I'm attacking there, trying to penetrate? Just imagine like the drill bit penetrating the tree there, if you can imagine that, just trying to penetrate there. And you'll notice as it's penetrating, I'm just adding more units. Notice I didn't go in with my full army, I'm just adding units as I need it. So as that initial drill point is pushing into the tree, if you like, okay, you'll see that I'm also now attacking the flanks of the drill point's entry there to widen the penetration. If you see what I mean? I know this analogy might seem a bit silly to you, but I just thought it was just interesting there. And I'm keeping these guys back in reserve to move in when I'm feeling ready, when the time is right there. But as I say, you can see the initial penetration there, the drill point is penetrating the box, and I am now attacking the flanks of that penetration, widening the actual entry point. Okay, now here, these troops here, I'm ready to move in. I should be ready to move in. Here, can you see I'm attacking the flanks of that penetration now, widening the entry, but that group there, the drill point, it's still drilling in to the middle of the tree, if you like there. Okay, so that's, sorry about the analogy, but I'm just trying to you know, I just thought you might find that a little bit interesting there. Okay, so gradually, can you see how I'm moving my troops in slowly and steadily? There's no rush here. Slowly and steadily moving my troops in, putting the pressure on that defensive box. Okay, you can see that there. And the drill point units, can you see, are still penetrating into the middle of that box. And these units here, okay, I'm going to look to try and smash through the center there. I'm going to join the drill point, if you like, and try and break through there. You can see my troops are widening the entry point here as well, putting a lot of pressure on the flanks of the initial entry point. Right, and these two units I'm throwing in now, I'm looking to go right through the center now of the drill point into the Macedonian general. Can you see those two units? And now I'm bringing a general in. Finally, I'm bringing a general in here, and this could cause a mass rout of the Macedonians now. Can you see how my Carthaginians have slowly and steadily penetrated that Macedonian defensive box there, and they're starting to rout the units. The general's been routed now. He's just been killed, and there you are. That's the box now has been destroyed there. You can see all my allies charging in now into the enemy troops there. You can see the SBQR infantry charging in. You can see Earth's cavalry there charging in as well, and you've got some SBQR units fighting there as well. But as I say, the general's been routed now, and it looks like we've turned defeat into victory here. As I say, earlier on in the battle, you could see that we'd actually lost the battle, really, hadn't we? Over here on the left flank, that's where my Carthaginians took out most of Gladdemmy's pike units there on this left flank there, with that down incline advantage that I had as we move up the slope here. You can see over here, this is massive here. You can see that was a big battle there. That's where the Seleucid ally was taken out. Remember, with all those victorious enemy troops smashing into the rear of the Seleucids there. As we move up here, you can see there. Now, this is where Scorpion King's SBQR infantry and Earth Scythian axemen were smashed in the rear by that massive Macedonian cavalry in that classic hammer and anvil attack, which should have ended the battle there. That should, you know, that would have, I'd thought that was the end of the battle. I don't know what all of you thought. It just certainly looked like the end of the battle to me. And you can see the dead there. And then we got there, you can see this is where Touro tried to charge his cataphracts into the back of the engaged troops, but they sent Germania and Gaulish troops there to block his attack. Over here, you can see this is the Scythian. You can see a lot of Scythian headhunting maiden dead there, but here you can see this is where we attacked the Gaul and Germanic troops that were attacking our rallied allies there. This is where my Carthaginians came down in behind them there. You can see, if you look here, can you see a lot of red trousered dead chosen axemen there? You can see a lot of them dead there, and you can see the fighting was really intense. And if we move up over here to where the Macedonian box was there, you can see there that we've managed to, as I say, go on to win the battle. I hope you didn't mind the tree analogy. I just thought it was interesting talking about a drill point and how I was trying to drill into that Macedonian box with my Carthaginians. So hope that added a bit more interest to the battle there. But as I say, and my allies have not got a lot of troops left. What they have got left is very battle depleted. I think Earth had maybe got 4 or 5 extremely battle depleted units left there, I think. So there's only 4 men left in that one there, so very battle depleted. And Scorpion King's SBQR troops very, very battle depleted, and Touro's Seleucid troops there also very, very battle depleted. I think he's got 3 units left there. I think there's 1 man in, yeah, 1 man in that unit, 15 in that unit. And what's that, 6 now? Oh my gosh. So it just goes to show how you know, how close this battle really was there. And as I say, let's be honest, earlier on the battle was lost, wasn't it? But here you can see that Scorpion King still got his general left there. And newer players to Rome Total War, that's really good. Keep your general, and it really keeps that general morale bonus for all the troops towards the end of the battle especially. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. As I say, for all intents and purposes, the battle was lost, wasn't it, earlier on for us? And for it to be an average victory, I'm really surprised. I thought it would have been a close victory. And the highest kills in the game goes to my Carthage army there. 2,782 kills. That's one of the highest kills I think I've ever got on Rome Total War, one of the highest there. But remember that I've only got those highest kills because of the way my allies played. Okay, my allies played so well, they enabled me to get those fantastic kills there. So whenever you see anybody with really great kills, remember, it's not just the way that that person played, it's the way that his team played to enable him to get those kills. So really well done to my teammates there to help me get those really good kills. And I've still got quite a few troops left there as well, which surprised me. So I was quite pleased with that result. And bearing in mind, it did look like we lost the battle there. So well done to JGP. Look what he got with his Germania army. Really good kills with Germania. So really well done to JGP. Well done to Royer there. Second highest kills in the game with his Gaul army. So really well done to Royer there. Did really well. Prince of Ionia with that massive army. He's got to be a bit disappointed there. Probably he's got less than 1,000 kills. But that defensive box he set up was pretty solid, as you could see. It was a good, solid defensive box there. And well done to Noobs Gladdemmy. Got over 1,000 kills with his army. So really well played, guys. Really well done there. And as I say, Touro did well there with his Seleucids. Well done to Scorpion King. Got some good kills there with his SPQR army. And well done to Earth there. Got over 1,000 kills with his Scythian army. So really well played, guys. Great kills there. Now, what about faction advantage here? Okay, so we had Carthage, Seleucid, Rome, and Scythia. Okay, they had Germania, Gaul, Macedon, and Macedon. So do you think that either team had faction advantage there? Please put your thoughts in the comments there. So just say I hope you enjoyed this battle. And I thought we had to show this battle because after that massive attack where most of our allies were routed, people were saying, come on, let's admit defeat and get into another battle. And our team was thinking about just, we're all going to admit defeat and go into the lobby and get another battle going. So I'm so glad that we kept fighting there and we really did turn defeat into victory. We snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, I think there. Okay, Spartan Commmander saying see you soon and bye for now.